And now for the last look. This month, when President Donald Trump imposed tariffs on the world, he didn't just frame it as a smart economic reset, he called it a national emergency. Similarly, in January, Trump sought funding for securing the southern border by declaring a national emergency. And for a way to boost fossil fuel production, you guessed it, a national energy emergency. So far, Trump has declared 8 national emergencies in his first 100 days, more than any other president. That's according to the Brennan Center for Justice. The reason for this is clear. Invoking an emergency has come to mean that the president can bypass Congress, intimidate courts, and run roughshod over normal procedures, even civil liberties. And while the current number is striking, it's not a Trumpian innovation. Presidents have become addicted to emergency powers. Unlike many other countries, the U.S. Constitution says nothing about how to declare or end an emergency. This has allowed presidents to organically assume a wide range of powers. This usually happened during wartime. In the 1970s, after scandals of presidential overreach like Watergate in Vietnam, Congress imposed some limits. This led to the National Emergencies Act of 1976, which established a process to govern the use of emergency declarations. This included, crucially, a legislative veto, allowing Congress to override a president's emergency declaration with a simple majority. But in 1983, when the Supreme Court ruled that legislative veto unconstitutional, the result wasn't a curb on presidential power, but in fact, a framework that formalized its massive expansion. Today, Americans are living under dozens of ongoing national emergencies, mostly tied to foreign policy, like sanctions. The oldest standing one, targeting Iran, dates back to the Carter administration. Others come from the post-9/11 era, when Congress granted the executive branch sweeping new powers, all in the name of national security. Both parties have used emergency powers to serve their broader agendas. In 2022, President Joe Biden attempted to forgive student loan debt by using an emergency authority related to the COVID-19 pandemic. But the second Trump administration has broken all records. Earlier this month, Trump leaned on the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to justify his tariffs. Also known as IEEPA, this is a 70s-era statutory power granted by the National Emergencies Act. And it lets the president act when there is a, quote, unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, or economy of the United States, unquote. While IEEPA authorizes a long list of actions, the word tariff does not appear among them. It's also worth asking, are trade deficits, something America has had with many countries for decades, truly extraordinary or unusual, or even an emergency? Many legal scholars say no. But the trouble is, courts are often reluctant to weigh in on issues of national security. In theory, reining in such abuse of emergency powers is simple. As the Brennan Center's Elizabeth Goitein suggests, Congress could reform the National Emergencies Act and require that these emergency declarations end after 30 days unless renewed. But presidents are obviously reluctant to sign away their own power, so passing it would require a supermajority, which is a 2/3 vote in House and Senate, to overcome a presidential veto. That's almost inconceivable in today's divided Washington, where one side is stacked with Trump loyalists. It's just one illustration, though, of how Congress has become little more than a feeble debating society rather than the first branch of government meant to put a constant and meaningful check on the second branch, the presidency. As Deborah Pearlstein, the director of Princeton's program in law and public policy, told GPS, these statutes were lying around like loaded weapons for a president who was not acting in good faith to use them. And in his second term, Donald Trump is pushing the boundaries of presidential power in a way that is well beyond what the Constitution envisioned. And yet, despite a distinct danger of creating a super presidency that would undermine America's democratic system, Congress and the courts have been largely acquiescent. When they wake up, it might be too late.